What's up, people? Welcome back to the Guardian File. Before I go any further, make sure you hit that like and sub button. First, I just want you to sit back and think. Think about your kids. Think about if one of your kids was hurt, how you would feel, and what would you do about it? Think about how you put yourself dead last to make sure that your kids, your family, has every resource needed to be able to function. Visualize your child on Christmas Day with so much excitement, or his or her birthday with so much excitement. Just think about everything that you're willing to do to provide and protect your children. Think about how you would feel if someone stole your children away from you and you could never see them again. How much it would hurt. Now I want you to think about whether you'd ever take the life of your children and whether you can even picture yourself harming them, whether physical or mental, in any way whatsoever. A second chance. Throughout my whole life, I would always hear people say that everyone deserves a second chance. I'd hear it so much that I even started to say it myself. It was like it was automatic and it would just flow out my mouth with ease without even trying. But as I got older, I started to experience life for myself, and my views on that started to change. Then, after working in the prison setting for over 20 years, my views on that did a complete 180. So now, instead of making a blanket statement of everybody deserves a second chance, I now view it on an individual case by case basis. In this video, we're going to focus on one of the most disturbing and horrible crimes that took place in U.S. history. With that, we'll also discuss one of the most disturbing parole hearings that ever took place. This video is going to focus on a woman who felt that the love and attention from a man was more important, more valuable than the lives of her precious children. This video is going to be about Susan Smith, a deplorable woman who took the lives of her two children in one of the most disturbing ways, by drowning them. Surprisingly, she was up for parole this past month. Does Susan Smith deserve a second chance? Or should she remain in a place that many of us would describe as hell on earth, prison? Make sure you hit that like and sub button. Let's talk about it.
And here's what Smith had to say as she asked the parole board for freedom after serving 30 years in prison.
I want to say how very sorry I am. I know that what I did was horrible, and I would give anything if I could go back and change it. And I love Michael and Alice with all my heart.
Under the influence of drugs or alcohol the night that you murdered your children?
No, ma'am, I was not.
What, if anything, would you say to the folks who worked so hard to find your children if you had the opportunity to speak to them today?
That I'm sorry that I put them through that. I really, really am. And I'm especially sorry to the drivers that I had to find them. I wish I could take that back. I really do. I didn't lie to get away with it. I really didn't. I was just scared. I didn't know how I could tell the people that loved them that they would never see them again. I didn't know how I could tell David he couldn't see his son again. And I'm sorry.
What do you think is the most important thing that you have learned while you have been incarcerated?
That people are important, that forgiveness and love, that family is important, and that decisions we make not just affect us, they affect the people that we love. And not to take things or people for granted. I am a Christian, and God is a big part of my life, and I know He has forgiven me. And it is by His grace and mercy that, and I have a lot of faith, and I live by that every day. And I just ask that you show that same kind of mercy as well. And I guess, yeah, that's it.
Now, before I get started, I just want to make it perfectly clear. There's nothing funny or humorous about the disgusting crimes that she committed. But I found joy in seeing and knowing that she wasn't granted parole. And it's actually laughable for someone that committed the crime that she committed, the crimes that she committed, to actually think that she deserves to be paroled. In her twisted mind, she actually felt like she deserved a second chance. I also want to make it very clear that even though some people may think that it sounds bad, I hope that she never gets a second chance. And every single time she goes up for parole, she gets denied and she dies a little bit more on the inside, especially because of the way that she chose to take her children's life. Now, drowning is a way to go, whereas you're going to truly suffer. And I hate to see an adult have to go that way, much less children. And those children had no idea what was going on, but they truly suffered. Now, to be completely honest and transparent, there have been cases in the past whereas someone who's taken someone's life, I truly believe that they may deserve a second chance. Now, if they got denied parole, then, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But it wouldn't anger me to see that person get a second chance. But to be completely honest also, it's a slap in the face that she even gets the opportunity to be granted parole. Because let's be real. If you kill one person, especially one child, should you get the opportunity to get a second chance? Much less killing two defenseless children. How is that even offered? Now, because we know if it was the father that did what she did, it would probably be the death penalty. But he damn sure wouldn't get the opportunity to sit in front of a parole board. There's not a chance in hell. But I digress on that point, because it is what it is, can't go back and change it. Now, the only time I believe that a killer should get a second chance to be offered parole is if the person that they took the life of was a straight up dirtbag. And to be completely honest, them taking that person out probably did all of us a favor. But other than that, I don't believe that you should get a second chance after taking someone's life. But obviously, this isn't one of those situations. Now, there are 5 main reasons of why I believe she should never be granted parole. But before I get into that, I want to give a quick summary of the actual crime that she committed. The date was October 25th, 1994. And even though it was a long time ago and I was only 9 years old, I remember it vividly. Now, on this date, Susan Smith reported to the police that she was involved in a carjacking. The car was supposedly stolen while her 2 children remained in the car. She even went as far as to make up a description of the supposed carjacker. Obviously, it was a black man. And it was such a generic description that description could have fit damn near any black man walking around the state of South Carolina. Now, she ran with this story for 9 whole days and got on national TV and made pleas begging the public to help find her children, hoping that they were still safe and alive. Luckily, the detectives didn't just run with the story. See, they noticed certain inconsistencies because they asked her to tell the story over and over again. Obviously, if something's true, the story will be consistent and the same each and every time you tell it. Well, they were able to poke so many holes into the story that it finally caused her to admit what actually happened. So for 9 whole days, 9 whole nights, she knew that her 2 children were stuck in a car at the bottom of a lake, dead. It didn't bother her whatsoever. As a matter of fact, just check this clip out.
Your mama loves you so much, and your daddy, these whole families love you so much.
There it is. Before I go any further, I'm asked the question, what do you think about Susan Smith being granted parole or offered parole? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section. These are my top 5 reasons why Susan Smith should never be granted parole. Now, this isn't in any type of order. Number 1, it was a crime involving a child. See, I believe that any crime you commit towards a child, you should never get out of prison, especially when the child is defenseless. So if I believe that, or that's my view on it, then obviously I would never want to see her get out of prison after killing not 1, but 2 children. Not just any children, her own children that she birthed. The children were defenseless. And we all know that normally our mother is the one that we first gain trust for, the first person that we love, the first person that we're going to feel like they'll protect us. So even though the children were taken away at an early age, most likely if they were even a little bit older, they would still not expect their mother to do what she did. Because that's the person that you're going to trust the most. So you feel safe with this person. You know that she's not going to do anything to harm you. She loves you the most. Now, the father loves you too, but the bond first is with the mother. I mean, it bothers me that the children really had no idea what was going on. Because you'll never think that your mother, not obviously, nowadays mothers aren't built the same way as they were when we were younger. But still, you trust your mother. My second reason for why Susan Smith should never be granted parole is the fact that, first off, she lied, but then for some odd reason felt the need to make the fake carjacker a black man. And again, a man that fits the description of, I'd say at least 80% of people in America, 80% of black men in America. Now, in the beginning, when she first gave them that description of the carjacker, and you would see it everywhere, I'm not exaggerating, there has actually been a few men, black men, that were detained and pulled in for questioning. Luckily, they were able to get her to admit that she actually took the lives of her children. Because there was going to be one black man that's going to lose his life, most likely get the death penalty, lose his freedom because you did what you did. And because of that, she put so many black men lives in danger. Now, my third reason for why Susan Smith should never get parole is her reasoning for taking the lives of her children. And her reasoning, or her reason for doing it, was because her boyfriend, or just somebody that she just probably having sex, said that he didn't want kids because they're going to interfere and slow things down. Now, something tells me that he didn't really like her like that. She's convenient, low self-esteem. So that's low-hanging fruit, which is the easiest way, the easiest type of person that a man is able to have sex with without really putting in too much work, if any work at all. Most likely, she's probably the one that approached him and asked him for sex. But, like I said, he didn't like her like that. So I'm guessing that was his reasoning for saying it, because she obviously, we would think, wouldn't put a man before her children. She proved that wrong. Now, if you want to talk about desperate or call someone desperate, that's the best example of how desperate some women can get over men. My fourth reason for why Susan Smith should never be granted parole is for the simple fact that she couldn't even follow the rules the whole time while she was in prison. Now, she knows that her parole date is coming up. You would think that a person would make sure they don't do something that's going to F that up. She decided that she was going to do something that F that up, which is having an interview over the phone for a documentary. And I believe that was like 2 months before the hearing. And she was told that she couldn't do that, but she made the decision to still do it. Another, I guess, blemish on her record, and we might say two more. She had sex with two officers, well, one captain, one officer. Most likely, those are only the ones that got caught. Now, even though that wasn't in her packet, it's truly understood that you can't have sex with the prison staff. But the thing is that inmates, whether male or female, don't have the rights of being able to consent when it comes to sex. See, this is the reason why those two gentlemen, the captain and the officer, got fired, was charged, because since the inmate can't consent to sex, that makes it by law or just legally sexual assault. Now, this is for those officers that stupidly put their careers on the line to have sex with this. In my mind, she's not worth losing my career, losing my money. But it's almost like dudes that work in prisons, because I witnessed it a lot. They'll have sex with anything. Doesn't matter what the person looks like, what type of life they lived. It could be anything. And you'll sit there and wonder, why is this dude even trying to holler at her when she looks the way that she looks? And let's not talk about the chlamydia she passed to those officers. Now, my fifth and final reason for why Susan Smith should never be granted parole. The simple fact that her ex-husband doesn't think that she can ever change. Now, this guy knows her better than any of us. So it would make sense to take what he said seriously. Now, some people may say that the ex-husband, the way he views her is strictly out of anger. But I don't believe that. Somebody that commits that type of crime, I would never even think that they would be able to be rehabilitated. And wherever she goes, if she does get parole, her presence in whatever neighborhood she lives in is going to bring down the property value. These are my top 5 reasons for why I believe that Susan Smith should never be paroled. Make sure you hit that like and sub button. If you found the video informative, share it. Till next time, Guardian File, I'm out.